God bless football, Billy Gill.
God bless football, Mikey A.
God bless football, Stugotz.
You were thinking about whether or not to include Mike Fuentes, weren't you?
Yep, I heard you guys say he was doing 2 shows, so I abandoned real quick.
Yeah.
And Fuentes is hurt. He is legitimately hurt.
Well, I was thinking of him.
Can I tell you a life principle of mine? And he's not going to like this. When in doubt, exclude Mike Fuentes.
Huh? Really? That's an odd life principle, Billy.
I live by that.
Do you? That's the code you live by, huh?
I tried to. Hey, Stugotz, Mikey A, Mike Fuentes. By the way,
yeah.
God bless football is presented by Smirnoff. Winter game days.
Yes.
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York.
And thank you to Smirnoff for sponsoring our great event last week in Arizona. We had a great time out there at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Billy is part of the Bird Gang.
It was so fun. Going up to Arizona, just Arizona in general. Smirnoff was great. I'm thinking of maybe I could pull a Mike Golic, right, and do half the year here, half the year in Arizona, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't have the means to do so or the income, but maybe if I find a way, maybe a squatter's rights or something like that. I don't know how that works.
Billy, you're doing Snowbird wrong. You're supposed to have somewhere cold to go in the summer months. You're going from Florida to Arizona. That's kind of an even trade. Almost.
Right. In the summer, Arizona is just as bad as it is here in Miami, Billy.
No,
I
think I'd probably go to Arizona in the winter, right? Because then I could kind of get some cold, but then it's too cold and there's ice on the roads, and I don't want to do that. Yeah, I'm going to have to rethink this. I'm going to rethink this one. It was nice, but I'm going to rethink this. Maybe a timeshare.
Right.
What do
Chicago.
I do? I just sit down?
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
But what were you planning on doing? Just squatting in Golic's house and not leaving? Is that it?
In his like casita where he does the DraftKings show from, like just in that studio right there, like when he joins us later today on the TV show. Yes. That would be my my bed right there. I'd lay up next to that fireplace, put a log on there. Yes. Keep myself nice and warm. My family would wonder where I was for 6 months because they're not coming. But hey.
Tell them you upgraded to a better family.
I don't think I would tell my family that. Ow. I don't think there's a
it's
way
the Golics, though. I mean,
that.
Your wife would understand. Anyone would understand. I want to be part of the Golic family. No?
I think the urge to be part of the Golic family is a uniquely you thing. I think no one wants to be part of the Golic family, including the people who have married into the Golic family, more than you want to be a member of the Golic family.
It's odd. I'm sorry I said that. Now I feel bad. It's going to sit with me the entire weekend. You were going to say, Billy, go ahead.
I doubt it's going to. By the way, friends, if you're watching us on the DraftKings Network or on YouTube, we have a lot of fun coming up. We have a classic episode. Mike Golic, Chris Sims, Stugotz. If you want to hear more about last night's game, check us out on the podcast because we're going to recap Thursday Night Football, TNF.
Yes, if you're watching on TV and you want reaction to last night's game, check out the audio version of God Bless Football. As Billy pointed out, Mike Golic, Chris Sims going to join us to get you ready for a big weekend. I'm more excited about the NFL than college this weekend, guys. I am. This is the best NFL weekend of the season. You have a 1 o'clock game with the Steelers and the Ravens, a 4 o'clock game with the Bills and the Chiefs. I mean, it's hard to get better than that, you know?
That's a weird 4 o'clocker, right? Like, I don't know why we didn't kind of get that one to be a primetime game.
It should be. It feels like it should be a Sunday night game. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Mikey A., how'd you feel about Aaron Rodgers saying about next year? Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I have an honest question, and you'll hear. I'm going to ask Sims it later.
Right.
Do I want him back?
I don't know.
Should I want Aaron Rodgers back next year, considering how this year has gone?
I don't know.
Because I don't know. I don't know what the alternative is, but I don't know.
Huh.
The alternative is draft a quarterback, but you're not bad enough to get one of the good ones right now.
Yeah.
That is false. We are extremely bad enough to get one of the good ones.
Billy's right. We're not bad enough.
Wins.
No. We're not bad enough.
3 wins.
I know, but there are plenty of teams with 2 wins, Mikey.
Yeah, you're not bad enough right now to get a good one. Who do you want? What's your best case quarterback scenario if you draft a quarterback?
None of them.
I want you to,
There's one team. There's 2 teams with 2 wins.
Right.
2. The Raiders and the Browns.
I want you
you'll fall into a win or 2 here along the way.
Yeah, I want Shedeur Sanders, but there is no way in hell Dion is allowing his son to play for that organization. I mean, and he's right.
You want him if it means Dion has to come with him.
That's what I saw rumblings.
Yeah.
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
But here's the question with Dion going with him is Dion going to be the head coach of the team for Shedeur? Is he going to be a quarterback's coach? Like, what does Dion going with Shedeur to the team mean exactly? Because I saw them doing this on ESPN where they're like going over all the possibilities of where they might go. But like, is Dion going to go to be a coordinator somewhere? Like, that doesn't seem likely.
Dion is nobody's assistant coach.
That's what I'm saying. So you're going to fire your head coach to bring in Dion? I mean, Jets already have.
We already fired our head coach. The head coach we have now is an interim head coach. I would take Deion Sanders if it meant we got Shedeur Sanders. Yes, he could be the head coach. You guys crazy? I mean, we're desperate.
It's a weird spin from you because you've been bashing Colorado for 2 years now, and all of a sudden you would take Shedeur and Dion to run your team.
I never bashed Shedeur. I just bashed 60 Minutes for going out and covering Colorado before they did anything. That's all I did.
And what do you think the coverage would be of the Jets if Dion and Shedeur went to the Jets?
We'll take that coverage, whatever it is. It's the only kind of coverage we're ever going to get, and I'll take it.
It's the only kind you ever get, right? It's just coverage and hope coverage. I mean, it's great. Right. It's a land of hope, the Jets, but also a land of...
That's where we live, Billy. We live in the land of hope, yes.
But also a land of despair at the same time. You live in the good place. I'm just realizing this. Like, do you ever see the show The Good Place with Mike Schur? So, like, spoiler alert. I doubt that you guys have seen it, but spoiler alert. This is the way the show works. So it's called The Good Place, and when the people die, they end up going to the good place, right? And then what we end up finding out at the end of the season, because they're in the good place, but they keep running into all of these problems and all of this stuff. And what you end up realizing at the end of the first season, again, spoiler alert, they actually ended up in hell. But it was like a specific hell that was designed to make people think they were in heaven and torture them, to think that they were actually in the good place and they were actually messing up and having problems. But they were in hell and the devil was just toying with them the entire time. That is the Jets.
The old bait and switch, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're in football hell. We are.
I think I need to paint my room a different color because I look so pale on camera. I got to be honest with you. Even when I go out in the sun, I don't look this pale. I don't know what's going on.
The white on white. Yes, you're whiter than your walls behind you.
I look like a ghost. These walls are blue, believe it or not.
Get out of here.
These are light blue walls. I think I did too much with this lighting.
Like Chargers blue, you're saying?
A little lighter than that, but it's a light blue, like a robin's egg blue or something. No, it's not that. That's too dark. Anyways,
Carolina blue?
No one cares about my walls.
Yep.
What are we doing?
DK.
Hey,
yes.
By the way, Stugotz, Mike Ye, if you want to compete against us in fantasy, go to dkng.co/Smirnoff. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. This is my week. Friends, if you want to join and you want to donate to Billy Gill's Children's College Fund, because I'm going to be taking all your money this week when I win, be my guest. dkng.co/Smirnoff. Fantasy. I will beat you this week.
He finished 475th last week. Mike Golic next. Mike, did you have any issues with the college football rankings? They came out, the second edition of the committee's rankings. Any issues?
I was surprised with the strength of schedule and strength of resume Georgia has that they dropped as much as they did. They dropped 9 spots to number 12, which basically puts them out because as long as a group of 5 is below the 12 slot, they get the 12 slot and knock the 12 slot out. So Georgia, while technically at the 12 slot, isn't really there because Boise State was 13. They would move to 12. I think they did a little bit of course correction on BYU. And I know in the ESPN show, Greg McElroy had been talking about how BYU got disrespected the first week and they did a course correct. And Reese Davis said he didn't think it was because Georgia and Miami lost. So they just naturally fell below BYU. But BYU and Indiana both jumped Tennessee. Tennessee stayed at 7. And Indiana went from 8 to 5 and BYU went from 9 to 6. So I do think it was a little bit of a correction for BYU to give them a little more love.
Do you think the committee, Mike, do you want to see Colorado get into the playoff? And do you think that the committee wants to see Colorado get into the playoff?
Oh, no, they don't want to see him get into the playoffs. I mean, this is just going to go to the should conference champions be in the play, get automatic spots. Because outside, I think, the Sun Belt, I think all the conferences took away divisions. So do you just go to who wins the regular season conference and don't have that extra game? Because quite honestly, you could have the extra game playing the conference championship game, lose it, and be out of the playoffs. And somebody in the conference could have not made the championship game, not had to play that extra game, and still be in the playoffs. So there's going to be, flaws to every system. And quite honestly, do you take the human element out of it? Do you go back to the old BCS computer? I mean, you looked at the 4 playoff teams picked by the committee over the years, and if you put the computer, the old BCS computer in there, a lot of times it was the same 4 teams. Well, now it's 12. Now it's a little bit more. Now it's so 4 was subjective, 12 is subjective, but obviously with more teams. So do you take the human element out of it and just put all the information in a computer and let it spit out the 12 teams?
Billy, did you hear what I heard? I mean, all of a sudden, Golic is into the BCS again, huh?
Longing for the BCS is all I heard.
Listen, I had no problem. Now, the BCS was just 2 teams. Obviously, the committee was 4 teams.
Not our BCS. It was 6 last year, Mike.
BCS. Believe me, I'm still waiting to pull my hammy whenever you do the show.
You longing for our BCS? Remember, we flirted with the idea of adding Lucy to the committee, which could help you out because maybe it'll give us some more credibility. Maybe things will be somewhat under control.
Well, yeah. I mean, that would certainly class it up a bit. There's no doubt about that.
Mike, has a lot of this much ado about nothing because, Georgia will play Tennessee, right? Indiana will play Ohio State. These things will kind of sort themselves out.
Well, and the committee knows that, Billy, right?
So why I look at where the rankings are, BYU going to 6, I think is important. Because if they were to lose in the Big 12 championship game to Iowa State or probably Colorado, then while that Colorado, let's just say it's Colorado, would have an automatic bid, I think BYU is high enough to where they wouldn't drop out. They could still make the playoffs. So I think the Big 12 could possibly get 2 teams. And if Indiana were to lose Ohio State, BYU will move up another spot to at least number 5. So I think the Big 12 has a chance to get 2 teams in. The ACC is down to 1, with Miami being the highest seed now at 9. They're going to have 1 team. It's going to be Miami and SMU or possibly Clemson, but probably Miami and SMU. Winner's going to be in, loser's going to be out, and they're going to have 1 representative.
How much of that do you think the committee factors in? Because you've said that you would love to be part of the committee one day. Do you think that there are committee members who are actively thinking, okay, let's use this one, but we could be setting this up for future ones. And this is a good team, but if they slip, if we have them here, they'll fall out. But if we put them 2 spots higher, they'll stay in. So not that they're protecting teams or kind of trying to, set it up for failure potentially. But do you think some of that is going on?
I don't think there's anything wrong with positioning teams. No, I mean, and you hear different things out of the committee every week. It's supposed to be a week-to-week thing, which I get. But, I mean, I think BYU deserves to be in a position to where if they were to lose, now, again, if they got blown out, maybe you think differently, but if it was a close game, that they could still be in the top 12. And if they were ranked 10, that wouldn't happen. If they were ranked 9 or 8, maybe that even wouldn't happen. But 6 or 5, they have a good shot. So I do think you have to have a little bit of foresight.
It's also a very different season, right, where the undefeated team isn't really a thing. Outside of Oregon being undefeated, you'll have an Indiana and a BYU who are still undefeated, but everyone's lost, right? So there's nothing wrong with a 1-loss BYU being 12th in the country and getting in.
Oh, no, there's going to be a 2-loss team, maybe a couple of 2-loss teams that get in. Alabama's sitting at 10, so if they don't move, they're going to be in. There could be a couple of 2-loss SEC teams in there. I mean, Texas A&M and Texas still have to play. As you mentioned, Georgia and Tennessee still have to play. Ohio State and Indiana have to play. Ohio State at number 2. Think about Ohio State.
Yeah.
So they had a 1-point loss to Oregon. If they were to lose a close game to the committee's number 5 Indiana, now they're not playing in a conference championship game. So the most as long as they win the rest of their regular season games, the most they can have is 2 losses. They're going to be in the top 12, right? I mean, they're a close loss to Indiana, who is at 5, is not going to make OSU fall out of the playoffs. It's just not going to happen. So there could actually be a benefit to not playing in a conference championship game where you're done and you're locked in and don't have the threat of losing a conference championship game.
We talked about it last week a little bit, but I think as we're getting closer, it seems less likely that a 3-loss team or multiple 3-loss teams are going to make it in.
If it is, it's an SEC team for sure.
Yeah.
But
it's going to be Georgia if it is, right?
Yeah. Well, Georgia, no. If Georgia loses to Tennessee, they're done. They're already done. The committee already.
Right now they're out. So if they lose, they're going to fall further.
12. Yeah. So if they get a third loss, there's no shot that they're in the playoffs. I do not think there will be a 3-loss team in the playoffs.
Mike, you mentioned Miami before, and considering how they won all their games, nail biters at the end and miraculous comebacks, and then losing to Georgia Tech, are you surprised they only dropped 4 or 5 spots? What did they drop? 5 spots?
Yeah, they dropped 5 spots. I am surprised a little bit because they've been living on the edge for weeks and living on the edge against all right teams, not great teams, okay teams. They've been having needed Cam Ward to pull their butts out of the fire, and that just didn't happen against Georgia Tech. So I was surprised they fell. I get it. The committee's saying they were still undefeated before they lost, but if you look at some of their losses, or some of their wins, they were very, very close. So, but I think, to Billy's point, they're in a position now to where if they lose the conference championship game, they're going to be out. They're at 9. They're going to fall outside the top 12.
If the Canes lose another game, they're out of the playoffs. Is what you're saying, and you're right.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, right. Any game. It could be Syracuse final regular season game of the year.
Exactly.
Right.
There including the conference championship.
There's not going to be a 2-loss ACC team. I don't think, unless it's the automatic qualifier somehow, some way. That would be the only way.
Well, could they be a 2-loss team that doesn't make the conference championship and makes it in because they're stronger than the conference champion?
Well, no, a conference champion has an automatic bid.
Right.
Okay.
And if Miami gets a second loss before the conference championship game, they're at 9 now. They get a second loss now, they're done. I mean, there's no way they'll be in the top 12.
Mike, will you be attending the Notre Dame Army game in a couple of weeks at Yankee Stadium?
I will not. I usually have to travel on that day for my Sunday game.
Because, Mike, I was thinking, like, Notre Dame's going to get in whether they win that game or not. Army has no chance of getting in if they lose that game. And perhaps you should talk to the folks over at Notre Dame and, maybe figure out a way for our armed forces, the people that protect this country, to possibly get into the playoff. What do you think?
Notre Dame is absolutely, positively not guaranteed a spot if they lose.
Oh, come on.
Oh, they're
sitting
in.
at 8.
Come on.
They're in regardless.
Yeah.
They're sitting at 8. They can only be 9, 10, or 11 if a group of 5 is outside the top 12, because that 12 spot is a death spot. You get knocked out. I think if Notre Dame loses to Army, I do not think they're making the playoffs.
Huh. I'm kind of with Billy, where I feel like the committee's going to they would be the 3-loss team that could get in. Notre Dame's getting in.
No way. No way.
Not a chance.
No, 3-loss team will be an SEC team if there is, but I don't think there will.
Well, they'd only have 2 if they lost to Army, right? Yeah. Notre Dame's getting in, Mike. Come on, don't worry about this. Yeah. Don't stress this situation.
They lose to Army, I'm telling you, they're not getting in.
They don't have a conference game to lose, so they'll be fine.
Right. They don't.
Championship.
That's true.
Right.
They're fine. Don't worry.
But, Mike, if you're going to lose and not make the playoff, the team that you would want to lose to is the Army, right?
If you go that route, yes, I would rather them lose to Army than lose to Virginia or USC. Certainly not USC.
Right.
If they were to drop a game, I would rather it be to Army than anybody. I'd rather them not drop a game, believe me. But yes, it would be to Army.
He hates this conversation. He does. He hates it.
I don't understand why.
We put him in such a bad spot. Like, he's going, like, everyone knows who Mike is and how much Mike appreciates the military, and we're putting him in a terrible spot.
But you guys love doing that. You thrive on doing that.
Mike, how would you feel? Billy and I were discussing this on the show the other day. How would you feel if in the NFL there was a selection committee and they selected who the playoff teams were going to be?
Oh, I would hate it.
Yeah.
I like it all decided on the field. I would hate the subjectivity of that.
Really?
No. Yeah, don't give me that. Unless I'm on the committee.
Yeah. Do you just want to be on committees in general? Like, is that where we're at?
He does.
Well, this college football committee seems to eat really well.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's all he cares about, Billy.
You can buy food.
I'd rather have it given to me.
Where's the line like for committee? Like, you want to be like the HOA committee? You want to be like school board? Like, where's the line for you in terms of committee?
I want to. When I'm done with everything, I'd like to be the security guy that drives around in the truck with the development's name on the side of it, like Greyhawk. You know.
And what would you be doing?
Oh, you just drive around,
yeah,
act like you're
right. He's talking about like fake security. It's not real.
No, I know, but like,
right?
like a little flashlight. Like if you see something, you know like
what?
Teens with skateboards. What do you do? Like point a flashlight and keep them.
No, it would take a lot for me to get out of my car. It's just about having a presence.
Right.
Okay. Would you want like one of the little, not a blue and red one, obviously, because you wouldn't want to be impersonating a cop, but maybe like a yellow like siren on the top. You just hit like a thing, like a burp burp.
Oh, absolutely. Move it along, kids. Move it along.
Yep. Plus, it makes it official.
What a strange dream.
And then have all the kids swear at me. Look at this rent-a-cop.
Right. What is keeping you from pursuing
Aim
that
high,
dream?
Mike. Aim high.
Yeah.
Come on. What is keeping you from doing this? I mean, you as a whack-in hut security guy would be great.
Oh, listen, because I'm doing a show every day with my son and calling games on the weekends. I mean, how much do you want to bog me down here? I'm in semi-retirement.
12 to 4, in the afternoon. What are we doing? Let's drive around.
Golfing, hopefully golfing.
Right.
Okay. I'm looking up for you now, like at police auctions, retired police cars. Maybe we can kind of get you one. You could just drive around.
Yes.
Have it wrapped for you or something.
Mike,
I don't really want to fake it right now. I'd actually like to have a job as a development security person.
Oh, come on,
God.
Mike.
I mean,
you're fine. You don't need to be paid whatever it is that they're paid. You're okay. I found one for you. I'm going to put it in the chat.
Pay him in a spread.
Yeah, he just wants
pay
the
him with
lunch.
food,
Really
bro.
That's it. That would be part of the deal, that I get 3 squares. Yeah.
I was going to say a 4-hour shift. He wants 3 squares.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
I found you a 2008 Dodge Charger sedan retired police car for $1,200.
$1,200 is fine because I only need it to drive in the neighborhood.
Right. Yeah, air conditioning maybe.
I mean, $1,200 is 2 stops, Radio Row, talking about diabetes. I mean, that's what it is, right?
Dude, that's half a stop. Who are you kidding?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Wow, I'm sorry.
You don't know who you're talking to.
Half a stop. So what are you saying? That's 7.5 minutes of a 15-minute interview with 94.7 The Bone in New Orleans? I mean,
yeah. Yes.
Oh, God.
I would consider myself the most knowledgeable JFK assassination person any of you know, okay? I will say that. I have done my diligence watching, reading, doing all of that. So, yeah, I find that stuff kind of cool.
So what happened with JFK?
Right, who killed him?
Well, the United States government killed JFK, right? There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that.
Amazing.
I mean, Lee Harvey Oswald was in the CIA. He was so to get into it, there's a lot. It's deep, right? Either way, but yeah, it was the United States government with maybe in cahoots with some other things here and there. But either way, when you lead it back to that, no doubt about it. No question.
Multiple shooters or just one?
Right.
I mean, let's see. I mean, Lee Harvey Oswald pulled off the greatest shooting expedition that nobody else has ever done. Still,
the
to
magic
this day.
Bullet, Chris.
Right. I know, because bullets
Yes.
go through bodies and then they take right turns and then take left turns and then go through somebody's body and then take another left turn and then go back left the other way. That's what all you have to say to people who believe that Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK.
Right.
You have to go, wait, so you're telling me you believe in a theory that a bullet went through someone, took a right turn, then took a left turn, went through somebody, took a left turn, and then took another left turn and came out. That's all you're going to have to say.
Right.
And, I mean, there's only this visual evidence of a guy's head being blown off and going this way. But, yeah, no, he got shot from the back. Okay, sure, yeah.
And what happened at the grassy knoll?
Yeah,
that's where the shot was. I mean, there was
But
somebody
who was
there.
it?
Well, I don't know. Somebody that was working for the CIA or somebody there.
How about the mafia?
Okay.
Was the mafia involved or?
Mafia, I think, was helping of the covering up and some of that, but not like there that day. They didn't take all the agents off the streets, right?
Yes.
And they didn't make it to this parade route. Have you ever been to the place where he got shot?
No.
I mean, oh, you need to go see it.
Really?
First of all, it's the biggest coup d'etat. I don't even know how to shoot a gun, but I'm just telling you, if I was there, I'd go, I might be able to hit him from here. It's all so close and so tight.
Right.
You don't understand, Billy. It literally, from that observatory building, like he is right underneath them. It's like less than 100 yards away. It's not far. The grassy knoll is like I could have thrown a football and hit him in the head from there. Like it's no joke. So that's where there's a lot there. But we can dive into that more and more as you want.
No. I want to stay right here. You went to the grassy knoll? I mean,
I've been there twice.
Wow.
I've been there twice.
To take like follow-up notes on what you missed the first time, or what?
I've stood on the X exactly. There's an X on the street where it all happened, and it's crazy. There's like to feel the power that's there and all that. But yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, people coming out of the woodworks and taking cameras out of people's hands seconds after it happened, right? The changing of the autopsy. I mean, you all saw his head's blown off.
Right.
I mean, the autopsy, his head's together, and there's a little hole.
I have never checked out the autopsy.
I can't tell.
Check it out.
Billy,
it's all a coup d'etat, man. It's all a coup d'etat.
I can't tell if he's an expert or if he watched Oliver Stone's JFK. I mean, I can't.
Well, there's some of that.
Right.
I've watched that, and I've watched.
What did he get wrong? What did Oliver Stone get wrong?
And his follow-up. And like he did a documentary that's really good. I can't remember. Right. The best thing that I've read some books that have like, you know what they do. This is what got me started. In 8th grade, I had somebody come to my school and they did like a presentation, and it was on the assassination, which I was already interested in, but they sued the US government. And he said, listen, they sue you. If you sue them, they'll send you the information, but they drowned you in the information, right? If the report's 200 pages, they send you 1,000,000 books and 1,000,000 pages and make you go through it. And you have to figure it out. And yes, the best books I've read have actual documentation, like document 2449A, B, C, whatever. And it has all this. And if you read through it, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's just exhausting to read or decipher through. And most people don't want to do that.
So I have an idea, Chris, and I feel like this is like an idea that we pitched to Peacock, and I don't know how it is, right?
Right.
But I feel like Peacock is a place for it. So I'm volunteering. I think me and you go together, and it's Billy and Chris Sims, or Chris Sims and Billy, because you obviously have a bigger name. Chris Sims and Billy. I don't even have to be in there, right? And it's just
so now it's just Chris Sims.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Football history crime solvers, and we just go around and we try to solve like history's crimes, and it's you like on the grassy knoll, and it's like you trying to see, can I throw a football and hit JFK in the head from the grassy knoll? Like we use football to see if we can solve crimes.
Yeah, but Billy, you would be JFK in that scenario.
Where me and you travel together and do all that, man. I don't think there's much of a lifeline for that show. It's going to be one show.
Oh, come on. I'd be doing a lot of the legwork.
Yeah, but
I'd be doing a lot of the lead work. You'd just be kind of showing up and kind of like guiding me around. I had an idea once, Chris, that I think that you would have liked, and it never got off the ground, and I never even pitched it because like I thought that it was going to go nowhere. But it was when we were at ESPN and they were launching ESPN Plus, and they were just looking for content. And I wanted to pitch a travel show where it was me and Mike Leach going around the country, and he was just teaching me American history. So like he would take me to like battle sites and just tell me all of these things that he knew off of the top of his head. One day I'm gonna hook a fish that's gonna do a travel show.
I'm glad you never pitched it.
Well, one day you tell me who wants to invest in that horrible idea.
This is where you pull the strings.
Right.
Chris, I'm getting you the answers to the JFK thing that you so desire.
Yeah.
In the form of a television show.
All you have to know, right, is like with every time everybody says, oh, it's about to get released, and they don't release those last 100 pages, right? That's all you got. Trump was talking about it, right? I was like, when Trump got elected on 2016, it was the thing I was most excited about. I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to finally find the JFK stuff, because he promised it, right? But what happens every time is the CIA comes in and they go, you can't, because we killed him, and we just can't tell everybody that, or we'll lose faith in the government.
I want you to rethink your position on what Billy is proposing, because he is willing to be JFK in this scenario. So you're on the grassy knoll.
Wait, what?
No. You're on the grassy knoll.
I'd love to throw a football at his head.
Yeah, you get to. That's exactly. And now we all want to throw footballs at his head.
Dallas and put him in a parade route to do that.
Can you curve it somewhere? Can you curve the footballs?
Football theory.
Okay, hold on a second. How about this?
Jesus.
If this will seal the deal, I will ride on the back of a convertible, and you can throw a football at my head in Dallas.
No, it's not going to seal the deal, because the rest of the trip sounds not fun, and it's a lot of work for nothing. All right, so I'm not doing it. All right,
it's gonna be great. Imagine it's like MythBusters, but with like unsolved historical crimes and football.
Yes,
yeah,
right. Yes, MythBusters football edition.
Historical game tape.
Exactly right.
Right. Let's go to the Zapruder film.
I'm gonna do. Oh my God. The Zapruder film room, and we have you breaking down the film with X's and
naming
O's.
rights.
I'm going to put some work in on this, Chris. I'll do the legwork.
Go ahead.
I'll follow up with you in a couple weeks.
I'm just glad my fucking jersey's back up this week. Thanks a lot for acknowledging me.
Now, here's the thing that Mikey and Stugotz may have not noticed or may not tell you is when we recorded earlier today for another part of the episode, that was not up. I actually went to make sure that was up for you this week because I know it hurt you so much last week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why isn't it up all the time? That didn't make me feel any better. I don't understand. So you're just telling me you're just trying to fucking use me and butter me up a little bit for 30 minutes every day? And that's I thought it was there all the time.
It is there all the time, but I had taken it down last week. We were doing some cleaning. I moved it around so that we wouldn't damage it, and then I forgot to put it back up, but it's fine. I have a question for you regarding Area 51. Because I don't know how much research you've done into Area 51.
I'm perfectly fine staying here the entire time. Go ahead, Billy.
So, do you guys think? I don't know. Do you believe in aliens? First of all,
yes.
Okay, so that's a good starting.
Have you encountered one?
No, I haven't. But I mean, I just I'm playing the percentages. The universe is big. Gosh, damn, we got a lot of big. We got a ton of videos of we're seeing flying through our Earth right now, and you're going, that's not a normal airplane. I don't know what the that is. So yeah, I'm a believer in it.
Do you think that they've made their way to Earth and they've kind of interacted with humans, or we have like an alien species or whatever at Area 51?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe they caught one that's dead. I mean, I could see that maybe or something like that. Are they roaming amongst us? No. Are they coming here right now going, why is this species trying to kill themselves and up the place they live? Definitely. They're like, wait, this is fucking the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Are they the dumbest people or dumbest beings in the universe? They're ruining their fucking planet they live on, and they talk about God's green earth all the time. What? I don't understand it.
Okay. Well, my question was more so, what kind of drugs do you think aliens do? Like, you think they have drugs on their planets that are different than like drugs here on Earth?
Nah, they're high on life. They're doing
really,
yeah. That's why they're not stupid and they're not killing their own planets. They're out having a good time. And
there's lots of dead planets out there, Chris, that could have been killed by aliens.
Yeah, probably humans did that too. We just don't know yet. I'm gonna bet anything bad. I'm gonna blame it on humans. I'm guaranteeing they probably did it up.
Me. You think humans went and killed off other planets? Would you go live on another planet?
No, I would like not.
It'd be boring as hell. There's nothing to do there.
I prefer Earth, but I would prefer Earth not to be 80 in November in the Northeast. That's a little weird.
BFT with Mike Florio, the Unbuttoned Podcast, Football Night in America as well. Chris Sims is with us here on God Bless Football. Let's start with Anthony Richardson. Some people would say Anthony Richardson is an alien. Seriously, physically. What are the Colts doing, Sims? What are they doing?
All right, so here's some things. I've said a few things, too, on TV and tried to tell some people a little bit, right? Like, I mean, I understand why they benched him. The play was all over the place. We talked about this, right? The tapping out of the game, that's odd, too. And I've said even, over the last week on my pod and to Florio a little bit, is just that there's more than just that. They benched him not only because of some of that stuff, but I don't think he's quite been the day-to-day professional they would like him to be. So this was a little bit of like, hey, set an example. We want you to go back and start acting the right way here and being detailed and doing the things you need to do on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis to be the starting quarterback in the NFL. So there was a little bit of that is why he was also benched by the Indianapolis Colts. And, of course, they were in the playoff race at 4-4 when they did it, so I get it. But now they're going, we lost 2 games. The offense hasn't looked all that great with Joe Flacco. It certainly has. And the big picture is still we want Anthony Richardson to be the future of our organization. So I think within looking at that, they probably had a meeting Tuesday and went, wait, we can't cut off our nose to spite our face here. Even though we know Anthony Richardson hasn't done some of the things we'd like him to do. He's not a bad guy. He likes the game. We like him. We believe in him. He'll clean up some of these things as far as detail on the day-to-day basis, and we got to get him out there to play. And we're 4-6. And what are we really expecting to do if we get to the playoffs or anything anyways? Come on, they're not that kind of team. So I think it is the right decision to go back with him. And I think if you look at it last 2 weeks, I'm not so sure hey, they're every bit as dangerous with him at quarterback. Yeah, they might be a little more surgical with Flacco, but Anthony Richardson's ability to make big plays, which he does every game with his right arm, it might be 3 or 4, but it's wow. And then his running, coupled with Jonathan Taylor, I think all of that, they just looked at it and said, let's go back to what our future is and what we're looking at big picture of our organization.
Chris, I thought they never should have went away from Anthony Richardson.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, I'm wondering what it does to the rest of the team, the rest of that locker room, when you have a coach who comes out and he says, with all that bluster, and he says, hey, this guy, he's our quarterback, Flacco, for the remainder of the year. And then 2 weeks later, he changes his tune, and it's back to Anthony Richardson. Does that impact the rest of the guys on the team?
I don't think it does. I think, one, they're going to look at it and go, okay, I'm glad that they, gave Anthony Richardson a little bit of a slap on the wrist for, being late to meetings or being late to rehab or whatever else, right? Again, I don't think this is a guy that's disliked at all on their football team. It's a guy that I just think people in the locker room looked at to go, he could step it up a little bit as far as being the quarterback of our team and doing all the little things that all quarterbacks do in the NFL. So I think that's where, the team is going to look at that. They know he's the big picture. The coach, when you make a quarterback change like that too, you got to make a definitive statement like that to a degree. And the locker room knows that too. I mean, they can't say, hey, we're going to go with Joe, and we'll just see how he plays this week. And if it's not good, we'll take his ass out too. I mean, that doesn't do any good either. So sometimes coach speak gets, coaches in trouble. But I think, these guys know what's going on there, and they understand it. And they saw the way Joe Flacco played the last 2 weeks to go, okay, wait, we're not that much better, or maybe we're worse with Flacco. Let's go with Anthony Richardson, and hopefully he gets better at the things we've talked about.
Sims, it's a question I didn't think I'd be asking you, but they asked Aaron Rodgers if he was coming back next year, and he says, yeah, I think so. My question is, do I want him back? Is that something I should want him to come back?
We almost need to get a contract written up and no, you need to do this, and this, and this, and this. And this and this and this, and then we'll let you back on the football team. Because, if you're going to come back, you don't get to run the show anymore. We don't run your offense anymore. Your offense sucks. It's sucky-ducky. We've seen that. So, yeah, you can come back, but we're hiring an offensive coordinator that we think is best for our team, and you're not going to run any of the plays you like. They're going to run the plays we like. No more screen to Devontae, and then screen to Garrett, and then screen to Breece Hall, and then 3-yard slant to Breece Hall, and then 3-yard slant to Garrett Wilson. That's got to change. That's where you don't want him, right? This is my big thing in my quarterback rankings. I took a lot of crap for saying he was the 14th best quarterback in football. The way it looks like I should have made him lower. I don't know what you want to say. That was my thing. He can't play the way he thinks he can play. He thought he was going to dance around and do all this crap that he's been doing his whole career. He hasn't done that in 3 years, let alone coming off an Achilles injury. So, yeah, if he does come back, it's got to be like the sheriff comes into town and goes, hey, no. Almost a little bit like Kubiak with Peyton Manning in the last year. Remember that?
Yes.
We know you have a million ways to throw 90 million screens and short passes to make your stats look good. But that ain't doing when it comes time for the playoffs. We're going to be tough. We're going to run the ball. You're not going to call your 9th screen check to Wes Welker out here. We're going to do that, and we're going to play that way. And I feel like that's what it will have to be with Aaron Rodgers at this point if you want him back, Mikey A.
Chris, Brock Purdy's had a pretty good year. That team's starting to get healthy. I know you love that team. I know you love that coach. You're not going to be surprised if that team beats the Lions NFC Championship game or makes it that far, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, I wouldn't be shocked if they made it that far. If you had to ask me right now, I'd go, no, they're not going to make it that far. They have a little bit of the disease of f*** it up right now, right? Huh. Whether it's missed field goals, letting up a big kick return, a big punt return. We're in a shootout with the Chiefs, and we're about to score, and we fumble on the 4-yard line going in. They've had a lot of that this year. That we're blowing out the Seattle Seahawks on a Thursday night. Oh, no, now they ran a 105-yard kick return back for a touchdown. We're in a football game all of a sudden. They've just been a little sloppy. But their top-end quality play, Stugotz, is worthy of that. When they play really good, I would not be shocked if they go to the NFC Championship. McCaffrey changes their team. You saw they're explosive. They're only going to get better at running the ball with them. Last week it was all pass game, and Purdy, to your point, has been better this year than last year, in my opinion.
Wow.
As far as making plays happen that aren't necessarily there to be had all the time. He's done more on his own this year, and that's what I've liked. Big throws, scramble, buy time, scramble, right, whatever, all of that. That's where he's, picked it up a notch, in my opinion.
Chris, you guys had a good Sunday Night Football game last week. This week, not a bad one in the Bengals and the Chargers, but 4:00, we have a battle of big dogs.
Oh.
We have the Chiefs and we have the Bills.
What a weekend.
And I feel like this is a who's game for the AFC.
Well, yeah, you got Ravens Steelers in one, right? You got that one at 425. And, hey, I think our game is damn good. I do. It's the Bengals, we know. It's desperation time. The Chargers, nobody's giving them the credit they deserve. Their defense is awesome, but I don't think people really understand it or don't want to give it credit because they've had an easy schedule to this point to a degree. I think it's going to be a fun game on Sunday night. And I think this is the cool thing, and you've seen this a little bit. Joe Burrow's the best zone quarterback in football. The Chargers love to play zone. Nobody scored more than 20 points against the Chargers this year, right? So I expect Joe Burrow, if the Chargers play their zones and as awesome as they are, that still pick them apart. I think they'll go plus 20 points, but I still just don't trust that Bengals defense. That's the issue there. So I'm going to take the Chargers, I think, in a close one, but I could see the upset happening. The Bills-Chiefs game, it's going to be really damn good. I'm leaning Chiefs. And for these reasons, the Chiefs, they got a big offensive line. Even though Pacheco's not there, you got to worry about their run. They'll stay patient and consistent with it. Normally, in those type of situations, these are the teams that give the Bills problems on defense. The Bills are not real big on their front seven. So then they have to flood people in the box to slow that down. And then that leads it to favorable looks in the pass game. The Bills aren't good at man-to-man. They play a lot of zone. And Andy Reid and Mahomes are great at spreading these zones out and finding Travis Kelce wide open in the end zone, like the divisional playoff game last year. So I look at that, and then I also worry about, Billy, the injuries a little bit on the Bills' offense. Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper, if they're not playing, I don't think they're going to be able to move the ball consistently on the Chiefs. I'm going to take the Chiefs to win on the road in a close one, but I think it'll be a fun one for sure.
The Jets job will be open. It is open. The Jacksonville job is going to be open. The Bears, Cowboys. Which of those jobs, if you were a potential head coach, would you most want?
The Bears would be up there.
Yeah, they would have to be.
I'd probably want the Bears.
Yeah.
I just think there's a lot of young talent on the football. The Jets are just so many things.
Right.
And it's the Aaron Rodgers thing and all of that where it's just I don't know. I don't. And you got a few players who are, due to make some big contracts and some older players you're going to have to make some decisions on whether you want to keep them going forward, all of that. I look at the Bears as having the best nucleus with that quarterback, DJ Moore, Odunze, Cole Kmet. They need some improvements on the O-line, but there's some pieces there on the defense too. That would be the team I would look at. Too many unknowns with some of the other stuff. And, Dallas has got a lot of work to do. I think that's the one. I think that would be the one. Chicago for sure.
We'll get you out of here in just a second. PFT with Mike Florio every day on Peacock, the Unbuttoned podcast, Football Night in America. Ravens, Steelers. Lamar has struggled with Pittsburgh. The Ravens have struggled against Mike Tomlin. What are you thinking in that game? Such a big game. Such a great game.
Oh, it is. It's going to be an awesome game. I am pumped for it. Yeah, the Steelers know how to defend Lamar, even though Lamar hasn't played him all that much, right? Think about how long he's been there. He's 1-3. He's only played 4 times. He's always hurt.
Yeah.
This is a different Baltimore team than ever before, though. This is the best offense Baltimore has ever had, ever. I know Lamar's first full year as a starter when he won the MVP. They were really good. Don't get me wrong here. But that was more of a system taking a league by storm, and people wait, I don't know how to defend him and the run and all this they're doing, right? This is they can do whatever they want. They can run it, he can run it, and he can absolutely dice you up in the pass game. Now, I do think Pittsburgh will be able to contain him maybe a little bit from some of the scrambling and all that, but there's just too many weapons I think he has right now. And I just don't know, do I think Pittsburgh can keep pace, right? This Baltimore defense stinks. It stinks. But I don't know if I think Pittsburgh can just outscore Baltimore that way. I got to see a little more from that Pittsburgh offense. It's been better. I like what Russell Wilson's doing, all that, but I took the Ravens 28-24 just because, and I think it'll be a fun game. I just feel like that Ravens offense is pretty damn special, and I got to see the Steelers win those kind of one of those games with their offense first before I buy into it. I'm not betting money on that one, but I'm taking the Ravens.
Me and Billy were trying to argue earlier this week with Le Batard that the Dolphins are back in the mix. Are the Dolphins back in the mix?
They're in the mix. They are. I mean, they're going to have to go on a run here, and it's going to be tough, right? I think that 7th seed in the AFC playoffs, though, is still there and up for grabs, right? Like, I think that will be and continue to be here throughout the year.
They have the Texans, they have the Packers, they have the 49ers.
The Raiders and Patriots will know how to defend them.
Right.
They will, and it won't look as pretty as you think. But I do think, like you're saying, Stugotz, they'll win the next 2. But then after that, I don't know if I'm ready to say they can make the playoffs, but I think they'll make a strong push. And I think for that 7th spot, my point is that 9 and 8, I think, is eventually going to get you in there. And it might be them and the Broncos and the Bengals and the Colts all jumbled up for that last spot to kind of make it happen. So they got a shot. They're alive. Their defense is better than I gave it credit for. The offense, we'll see. Again, like I said, I still got questions of whether I think this can really work with this current formula and how they're playing right now.
It is time for this week's edition of Stugotz, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. College football, Week 12, 5-7 a week ago, 56, 51-2 on the season. Not terrible. Blaine Gabbert. Let's get to the games. Texas, minus 13.5. They're taking on Arkansas. It's at Arkansas. Buy it down to 13. Texas wins, and they cover. Texas by 17 points on the road. Colorado, minus 11. Take it on Utah. Colorado wins, and they cover. Colorado by 21 points at home over Utah. Liberty, minus 14.5 at UMass. UMass, terrible. Liberty, pretty good. When I have a terrible team versus a pretty good team, I take the team that's pretty good. Liberty is minus 14.5. Buy it down to 14. Liberty wins the game. Liberty covers. They win by 21 points on the road. Jacksonville State, Billy's not going to be happy. Minus 14, take it on FIU. Buy it down to 13.5. I'm taking Jacksonville State to win by 17 points. Georgia Southern, minus 7.5. Take it on Troy. Buy it down to 7. Georgia Southern wins. They cover. Georgia Southern by 10 points. Illinois, minus 3. Take it on Michigan State. Buy it down to 2.5. Illinois wins and covers. They win by 10 points at home. Oregon, take it on Wisconsin. Wisconsin, not very good. Oregon might be the best team in the country. Buy it down to 13.5. I'm taking Oregon to win and cover. They win by 21 points. Big game this weekend. Tennessee, Georgia, SEC clash. Tennessee getting 10 points. Georgia should not be favored by 10 points over anyone at this point, but they are. I'm taking Tennessee. Georgia wins the game. Tennessee covers. Georgia by a field goal. Memphis, minus 14. Take it on UAB. Buy it down to 13.5. Memphis wins by 17 points. BYU, minus 2.5. They're taking on Kansas. Kansas, they have the audacity to think they're going to stroll into Provo, Utah on a Saturday night and get a win. They're not. BYU will. They win, they cover. BYU by 10 points at home. NFL, Week 10, 4-3 a week ago. 45, 27-2 on the season. I am on a heater. I really am. Lions, minus 13. Take it on the Jaguars. Lions win. They cover. Buy it down to 12.5. The Lions win by 21 points at home. Ravens, minus 3 at the Steelers. I'm taking the Ravens here. It's 2.5. Buy it down to 2.5. I'm taking the Ravens to win and cover. The Ravens by 7 points on the road. Dolphins, they bounced back last week. Now they're home this week. They're taking on the Raiders. It's -7. I like the Dolphins. They are still in the mix. Buy it down to 6.5. The Dolphins win. They cover the game. The Dolphins by 14 points at home over the Raiders. San Francisco getting healthy. -6.5. Taking on Seattle. Buy it down to 6. The Niners win, and they cover the Niners by 13 points at home. Broncos, -2.5. They're taking on the Falcons. Broncos are sneaky good, I'm telling you. The Broncos win, and they cover the Broncos by 10 points at home. And finally, the Chargers, Sunday night, taking on the Bengals. Chargers -1.5. Take the Chargers. They win, they cover the Chargers by 7 points at home. Those are the picks, everyone. Good luck.